day.
In the hot seat of the Situation Room this morning. Patrick, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Quite okay.
Karibu Sana, welcome to the hot seat of the Situation Room.
I'm glad to be here today.
Glad to have you here.
Yes.
We'll be looking into insurance claims, where trust meets accountability, but beyond that, of course, what people can actually do. And I think no better time than this might be a serendipity, but things have happened where people might be seeking, okay, so what's going to happen here? Or even looking into the future where we say, maybe insurance is a good thing to take because it could save us from a lot of situations. We'll jump into that. But one thing that we do in the Situation Room to welcome you is that we go to a different African country every week. We come back with their proverbs, and Dennis is going to share where we are this week, and we'd love to hear your interpretation.
So today we are in Chad, a beautiful country, right? And it's named actually after Lake Chad, one of the largest lakes in the continent. But unfortunately, the lake is actually reducing in terms of the water that it has. Why? Because of climate change. And one would say that they're doing everything to ensure that that thing that it has been named after is actually protected. And it's equally rich in oil, livestock and agriculture. And the proverb that we do get from Chad today, the chicken that laughs at the hawk will soon learn how to fly. The chicken that laughs at the hawk will soon learn how to fly. I see you laughing. How would you interpret it?
Now, that's an interesting proverb. Now, how I would interpret it is, let me look at it this way. You know, the hawk, you can see it in different ways. An enemy or an opportunity. Now, for the chicken, of course, by the time it's laughing at the hawk has the potential of taking it away. So for us, maybe I relate it to insurance. Now, insurance, most of the time, most people would see it as a necessary evil. And you may even wish it away. But when things happen, you are faced with a calamity, then at that time you remember that really I needed insurance for this.
Like when floods come.
Now what happened last Friday is really a wake-up call.
Cool.
Most of the time things have been easy. You would not even think that most of the time we even interpret we are on higher ground. Until it happens, then you realize actually higher ground was not higher ground. So that proverb is really educational, if I may relate. So it's important that just like the chicken, when you see the hawk up there, you are unsure what its capabilities are. So it's good always just to take precaution. And the laughter actually exposes your position. Yes.
Well said, well interpreted.
Indeed.
Yeah.
We've heard it many times before, but I think it's always necessary for us to have a greater understanding of exactly what insurance is and what it does and then what it provides. Can we do that?
Yes. Let me take a step back, what insurance is. And we can look at it, the eye of the customer, the person who wants to buy the insurance, before they come there. What they are thinking in their mind. They start imagining that if a flood came, how can I help myself? Then as they are doing that, somebody else is also thinking about the same. The other person might not be thinking about the flood now. They might just be thinking about heavy rain or a storm. So as more people are thinking, then they realize they have quite a number of risks together. So what insurance does is it brings many people together. And then these people, they contribute into a pool which serves as a guarantee. So insurance is that you feared about the rain. So let's pool our resources together. If you had the rain, we will draw from this common resource. So it's a game of numbers. So contributions by very many people are used to pay the claims of a few.
So, yeah. So one would then ask the question, Nairobi is just still dealing with the effects of the floods that you experienced Friday last week, right?
Yes.
And with that, then one would look at it and ask themselves, if I'm covered, will the insurance pay me because of the floods that happened? How sure are they that they would get some compensation of the loss that they've incurred?
Okay, thank you. Now, the first step is, the first check is really, do you have insurance? Now, for you to be compensated, you must have had some insurance in place. Now, moving on quickly, let me take the situation that you have insurance. Then the immediate answer is a yes, because you will find that most policies would cover things like flood. And especially when we are looking at what near ordinary Kenyans, most of them would have. You would have your house or somewhere you are staying, and you would also be having your vehicle. You will find that the standard policies, unless maybe you had been told earlier that where you are so prone to flood that you are not supposed to be covered. Otherwise, flood is an ordinary cover. So yes, you would be covered. So your claim, you bring it would definitely be paid.
So what is paid in this case? That somebody, like a lot of people, we see the property's been destroyed, whether the water got into the house or whether the vehicle was destroyed by water, vehicle carried away by the strength of the water and then ultimately destroyed. What's covered? Brand new vehicle? Some money to then, stay in a place whereby it's dry for a period of time. How exactly is this covered? How is that helped?
Let's look at the case of a vehicle, first of all, because most of the time, like this flood, what was so visible immediately, even before we start looking at what was destroyed inside houses and buildings, were vehicles being swept away. Now, during such a flood, unless I saw some clips where somebody decides to drive into that raging water, well, those are exceptional situations. But for vehicles, for flooding like what happened, it is actually covered. And what you would be paid, insurance looks at it, returning you to where you were.
Yes.
So if you had a brand new vehicle at that point in time, definitely the insurance will pay you for a brand new vehicle. But if you had a vehicle that had been used for quite a while, then insurance would be looking at, okay, fine, we can't get you exactly a similar vehicle, but we can quantify it in terms of some amount. So what is that commensurate amount? You will find that most of the time, it is the amount you have insured that vehicle at, and maybe it can just be adjusted a little to take care of that from the time you did the valuation to the time it has happened. Just a little adjustment. But yes, you would be paid for a replacement vehicle.
Patrick, your pain sounds so pretty and easy, but there is talk out here that as well, hey, insurances don't want to pay claims, that you would suffer damage, you would suffer loss, but you come to insurance and you want to now be compensated out of the loss that you've suffered, but it's always difficult for you to be paid. Is that true? Is there any semblance of reality that insurance just don't want to pay claims? Or is it just another talk out there?
I wouldn't say it's another talk out there, but let's put it to context. Now, first, most people, whenever they buy insurance, insurance, it's a promise you are being given. You are not, it's actually most of the time you are given a piece of paper, yes, you have bought insurance. If it is for a vehicle, you are given some sticker, display it somewhere on the windscreen. Now, that's a paper. The real thing most of the time, it comes when you experience it when you actually have that claim.
Yes.
So when that claim comes, what has been happening has been so much out of ignorance. You are given that piece of paper, but you were not told this piece of paper, how tangible, at what point does it become tangible? Apparently, when it becomes tangible, you are in shock. Most of the time, it finds you off guard. That's when the claim is there. So, when the claim is there, first of all, mentally, you are not okay. Now, the person who has known the process all along, they want to start educating you about the process at that point in time. Now, that is the start of the problem. Because for me, even for me, an ordinary person, when I bought that promise, the same way I gave in trust some amount, I expect it instantaneously.
Yes.
But now, how the process becomes complicated is when now, when you make that claim, you are told, you need to fill this claim form. You need to advise it in this format. We will not pay you immediately, but we need to find out whether what you are telling us is actually true. Now, that process, when you start looking at it, it starts causing a strain. Then, coupled with the fact that you are already distressed, it starts bringing that frustration is setting in. Then, sometimes, when the frustration sets in, you start wondering, is it that the information I'm giving, is it the information that is causing me problems?
Okay.
So that speaks to failure for insurance firms to be clear from the word go on what one is getting into. Because follow me through this. Because most of the time when you buy insurance, you're told if you buy comprehensive, you're covered. Whenever something happens, we will pay you. That's pretty much what it says.
Yes.
But the devil is always in the detail, and is in that policy that you append your signature on, because then it details exactly what the process is and how that will go. And this is where insurance firms do not come clean, do not make it bare, rather, to your customers, really, to your clients, on what to expect in the event that they have to claim to claim compensation. So then, if that is where we find ourselves, how do we fix it to ensure that from the word go, both the client and the insurance provider are on the same page?
Thank you. And I would agree with you. That's a development area for the insurance industry. But several things are happening.
Okay.
For example, we are having an inaugural claims conference. That is happening next week, 18th and 19th in Naivasha. Now, the theme of that conference, really, just what you are saying is that nobody tells you in advance. So you don't even know whether you need to start having that claims conversation way in advance. So what we are doing during that conference, part of what we want to bring out is that the conversation needs to start before a claim happened. Now, when that conversation starts, it means we want to build trust. And that trust is what is so critical, because we are simply saying, like, we want to change the future of claims, not how we have known it. We want to change how we are going with it forward, because the theme is claims is where trust is won or lost. So at that point in time, we want to educate the public. It's an initiative that we are starting, and it's a journey. We are aware that trust is long lost. What you asked earlier, that do insurances actually pay claims? Do insurers pay claims? Do they even want to pay? Well, I would say the answer is yes. But what has not really come out before is the how. How do I make that claim? Because I do not expect the person buying insurance to be an insurance expert. Because people take time to study insurance. So we do not expect the public everyone in the public to know what insurance is. So it's very important. That's one of the initiatives. Other initiatives that we are actually even doing before is we organize free webinars for the public. I remember last year we organized some webinar which was well attended all across, indiscriminate. And we always say, as a claims profession, you know, insurance is the business of carrying risk, but you find that the flip side of it is the business of actually paying claims.
Okay.
So we want to bring it out that it is not just receiving your premium and carrying that risk. We want to pay claims, and this is how it is done. Know it in advance. Let's have that conversation. Let's understand each other.
Okay.
Yes.
I want to go to, in a bit, some of the challenges, because I do believe that insurance is a necessity across board, because you can have a way of getting it back. But I want to focus on this issue, that this money that people are claiming,
Yes.
or this, whatever it is, buyback that they're claiming, is it their money?
Yes.
It is their money, right?
Yes.
So it's money that they've put in to get a cover in the event that something would happen
Yes.
later. So they've also been given the promise that whatever method has been used to grow that money, that you're guaranteed of something in the future. Should your house burn down, you lose your car, you get something for it.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
So essentially it is your money that is being grown. Right?
Maybe.
Or is it something else? Maybe explain that to us.
Yes.
Because that would give rise for this understanding of then, if it actually is my money that you've used to grow, why is it so difficult to get it back?
Now let's look at it this way. First of all, it's a pool which is contributed.
Yes.
So it is your money.
Okay.
Let's start from there. Now, it is your money, but the only thing is, let's take a vehicle worth 1 million Kenya shillings. So what you want to do, that I want to put a portion of that vehicle equated into an amount to a pool with other people. So 100 of us, we pool together a certain amount and we put it together so that later on, if any of us lost their vehicle, we draw from that fund to pay that one person. Now, sometimes something interesting happens. So what if we don't get the numbers after we pay one person? There's nothing left in there. The other people also have a right to it. So what insurance normally does, they find creative ways of not just keeping the money
As it is.
Yes.
as a idol. I think we would not be doing justice to even it's provided in the Bible, the parable of the sower. So when you do that, is it the it's called the parable of the talents? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so when you do that, then at least you can get something out of it. But additionally, apart from just investing it, the insurance company needs to think of other ways. They take reinsurance also, so that when you make that claim, it's actually available. So I would say any premiums contributed is actually belonging to the insured person, those people who have taken insurance.
Okay. So I want to look at, I'll keep on referencing on the disaster that happened,
Yes.
and that would be the floods, right? And after the floods has happened, assuming I'm a policy holder,
Yes.
and I want to get compensated because my life has to continue, because like you rightfully said, insurance takes you back to the position where you were before the incident happened.
Yes.
So one then would want to know, what are the immediate things that I need to do now or immediately to get compensated, and so that my claim is not rejected?
Yes, the immediate thing you must do. it starts from you saying that actually a flood has affected you. That's the first step. So immediately you are affected, let your insurer know. Where you have an intermediary like Minet, tell Minet immediately. That way, straight away action is triggered such that you are assisted. For example, once you say you have been affected by the flood, you will be advised on the process and how long it will take, what you need to keep. For example, once you say you have been affected by the flood, you will be told, look, first keep safe, because, for me as a client advocate, I always say I'm better off with a living client. My customer, when they are alive, that's how I'm also alive. So once my customer is safe, they need to take evidence. If you can take photos that actually it has happened. Because, memory fades over time. And it also gets clouded. You may have experienced a flood here. You see the one for your neighbor, then later on you are told to describe. You end up describing what you saw at your neighbor. Then an independent person listening to it would wonder, but you are saying your house is large, but what you are showing us is so tiny. Now that one normally brings a bit of a problem. It starts bringing mistrust, even where trust was there. So, knowing the process, notify, preserve that evidence, and cooperate. So that only through cooperation you can be guided, you can be told what to provide, so that your claim is smooth. Yes.
So, I was marooned by water, my building, assuming like what happened in downtown, right?
Yes.
So you find spare part dealers and all that. So my building was marooned by water, everything was underwater. What do I do immediately? Because here's the thing, I might take a photo a bit later while cleaning. Am I supposed to, the first thing I do is...
I'm not thinking about taking a photo.
As messy as it is, that's when I take the photo, to show the actual extent of the problem. Because you find many, actually, usually, they've started cleaning, the place looks a bit better, then take the photos. Would that be then clouding the actual fact on the extent of the damage?
Ordinarily, what would be required, just take the photo in the state it is first.
Okay.
Yes. Then immediately after that, it is logical enough that, of course, you want to return to your business as fast as possible. But remember, even when you are taking the photo, you have already alerted who? The insurer. And what has happened in these flood situations? The insurers are sending teams on the ground immediately. In fact, because it was even public knowledge, you find that insurers, they know the locations of where their clients are. They are sending their officers on the ground immediately. So I think that way it's very important. And evidence, take it as raw as fast as possible, take it raw. That way it helps a lot of questions. Yes.
Okay, so when you look at a situation whereby the country, because you do this, how many people are actually insured, understand what insurance actually does for them?
I think public education is, I would say, our regulator. Insurance Regulatory Authority has been doing quite an enormous job around that, to educate the public. But I think we are not yet where we should be. We are still very far from there. So public education is still very important. And it's an area that you'll find that even insurance companies now have opened up to educate the public, to avail the knowledge there. You will find nowadays even TikTok channels, they are there, social media, because we always say, the generational insurance customer the people who will consume insurance, is actually changing, and their expectation and access is changing. So how we are relaying the insurance message out there is becoming liberal and different. You know, before that, you would think if you saw me, if you wanted to know an insurance person, they had to be somebody in a tie, in a suit. They are a bit cleaned up. But today, it's being liberalized. That's why we even start talking about micro-insurance at the very ground level. At the very ground level, your messaging has to be at that level. And that's where the majority is. And when we start the conversations like what I had mentioned earlier, there's something like the conference that we are doing. One of the things we are doing, we want to educate the public. It is, you know, information does not help you when you retain it. It actually starts helping you as soon as you share it out there. Indeed. So that's what we want to do.
Okay. We're talking with Patrick Omoro today, who's the Associate General Manager, Claims Minute Risk Solutions. And we're looking into insurance claims where trust meets accountability. And of course, having a conversation about, okay, how does insurance actually reach everybody? We'll continue with that when we come back from this break. It is 24 minutes to 10 o'clock. Don't go away more when we come back.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
I do abayas, bonnets, bodycons, hijabs, two-piece and three-piece sets, anything and everything relating to women and ladies and even little girls, I do. So I've always wanted to make outfits that basically still covers the Muslim woman but allows her to express herself in fashion in a modest way. To any business owner out there, be it you're selling sweets, whatever it is you're selling, big or small, never underestimate yourself.
Panadol Extra provides 3 times more pain-relieving power than standard paracetamol for fast relief from strong pain like headache, toothache, and muscle pain, and can get to work in 10 minutes so that I am ready to be there for those who need me. Stronger pain relief at only 20 shillings per pair.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
All right, taking a look at what the roads are looking like this morning. Still a little bit busy coming off a thicker superhighway, but not too bad until you get to roundabout, the Globe Cinema roundabout, and going off towards ktnnews Road on your left. There's some traffic there. It's busy also coming off of Limuru Road today, so that's one to watch. The parts of Kiambu Road going towards Muthaiga Square, still heavy with traffic, bumper to bumper there. So coming off of Limuru, like we said, past the village market, coming in from Ruaka, that's busy as you get into the city this morning. And we're looking at traffic still busy coming off of James Gishuru, crossing through towards Waiyaki Way. Busy on Gong Road as you then approach the junction coming in from Rilo Dinga Way. But we're doing okay for most parts of Langata Road today, so yay for that. Coming off North Airport Road is still very busy. Traffic on the Outer Ring Loop, busy as well as you try to make your way through towards Cabanas, coming off of North Airport Road. Parts of Mombasa Road, some traffic here and there, but nothing too worrisome for now. Let's see what happens throughout the rest of the day. Spice FM KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room. And our conversations continue this morning as we continue with our insurance conversation this morning. Patrick Omoro joins us at 21 minutes to 10 o'clock. We continue with that. And so looking at some of the challenges to get people to accept what may be an insurance for them in the short term, what are some of those challenges, Patrick?
Thank you. Now, insurance has many challenges. And there are 2 ways of looking at it, and especially for the insurance customer. One of the challenges that we have mentioned earlier is just the awareness on what to do. That is very important, because you can only get what you paid for. You can only realize the promise when you know how to claim the promise. And two, there's the element of misaligned expectations. Because most of the time you find that when it comes to insurance, at the back of your mind, by the time you are buying it, you are operating from the environment of the various challenges. What if, what if, what if? Now, when the if comes to reality, then you have a certain expectation. One critical expectation is that you are paid an amount that you expect. So, for example, if you had insured your vehicle 2 years ago and it was $1 million then, your expectation is it's $1 million. So when you get less than $1 million, of course, trouble starts from there. The question now, the if changes to why. And getting an answer for why when you are unhappy, you are distressed in claim circumstances, that poses another challenge, because definitely the insurance company will start explaining insurance to you, but really that explanation, is it giving you what you wanted? The answer is no. So that's another challenge. Now, there's the aspect of insurance. Once you get into it, be ready to deal with very many people. The person who will be selling you that insurance is unlikely to be the person
You'll be dealing with.
who you will be dealing with on a day-to-day basis to give you even that policy document. Now, once you are even given that policy document, sometimes it can last 10 years. Then immediately you have a claim, suddenly another person pops up. Then you are wondering, guys, what are you doing here? Why should I deal with so many people? Then even after this person pops up to start handling your claim, they introduce you to other people. You have what we call the loss adjusters. You have an assessor to quantify your claim. Then that sometimes is just so overwhelming. Now, the other challenge that normally is there, you know, we say the devil lies in the detail. I think you had mentioned it earlier. When the very language you thought you knew all along suddenly means something that even you are wondering, is this English? What exactly it is? So insurance language has tended to be very complicated. But we thank the regulator. The language is being simplified because it has to be ordinary language, because we are dealing as ordinary people. We are not dealing as technocrats. Our customers are not technocrats. So the insurance language, simplifying it. That is one challenge that has been there. The other challenge, of course, this one I want us to look at it in two ways. There's been a lot of information on the ground and even a lot of researches that have been done and statistics that say that 25% of claims that are made are fraudulent. Well, you know, somehow you will think the question you asked earlier, one of the things that brings that even the simple, straightforward claim might take a totally different trajectory and become complicated for no reason. Why? Because we focus on the 25%. Now, one of the things we want to do, and I have to keep on repeating this, one of the initiatives that we have started, and it's a kind on its own in the industry because nobody has come out to talk about it openly, and Minette, we are coming out to talk about it, is start a journey of building trust. let's not focus on the 25%. Okay. Let's focus on the 75%. 75% of people who have insurance are good people. 75% of claims are excellent claims, genuine claims. Now, how can we leverage on all the learnings from the genuine claims, not focusing on the fear of the 25%? Because you see, sometimes claims is history. It is something that has happened. Should we walk ahead while looking back? The people who will help us walk ahead looking in front are actually the 75%, not the 25%. 25% help us to put in controls, to be self-aware. What can we do different? And maybe a question that will be answered as we walk this journey towards building trust in claims would be, this 75%, what is the actual lesson that we get from there? And the customer, what is the customer expecting? The 75%, if they were happy. Or why is it that we have paid claims for 75% and they have not raised a question? Have they raised because they are not happy? Have they not talked just because they gave up? Or they are genuinely happy? That's a genuine conversation and a journey that we are starting. So that, in summation, there are just some of the challenges, but the challenges are many. Because let's take motor. About 70% of claims tend to be motor claims. Now, within the 70%, you find that most claims are actually good. They are actually good. But you find that in that process, motor claims, we have garages who are there. The question has always been, the insurers' technology has set in, whereby even AI is being deployed to do what? To settle claims in just a few minutes. That's already happening in the market. But to the customer, when is their claim settled? The claim is settled when, if it is my vehicle, at that moment, then I'm able to drive it again. Or if it was a total loss, the time I have another claim. But we have another set of service providers that support the insurance industry. So even if I can do something in a minute, and within that minute somebody has talked to the client badly, yes, I've paid the claim first. To my statistics, I will say a record. But to the client, how have we left the client feeling? Very bad. So those are some of the things that cannot be surmounted in a day, because they have been somehow systemic and all across the claims value chain.
Okay. Yeah. So I want to look at losses that one would have incurred, right? So I'll give an example of a motor claim.
Yes.
Where I've been involved in an accident. I've reported the same. An assessor has come, has looked at my vehicle. They've declared that I will take it to a specific garage. I'm given a courtesy car in the meantime as they fix my motor vehicle. But here now I want to look at the floods. So it's my business. I've been marooned by water. I'm unable to get in there to do my business. That means I am incurring losses per day, right? So I'm not getting sales. I'm not selling. I'm not getting money because I have shut down. I am cleaning and all that. So if I'm coming to you to now say, okay, fine, you will pay me my claim, but that notwithstanding as well, there is the other aspect. I have not made business. I have not sold anything because my business is closed. Do you cover that? And is that available in the market? Or how would one then come to you and say, aside from just bringing me my engines that are underwater, on a daily basis, I usually sell like 3 or 4, right? So I've also incurred losses. Is that a conversation?
Thank you. And you know what you ask is very important. Insurance is actually about a livelihood.
Mm-hmm.
Remember earlier I was saying I'm better off with
A living.
exactly
Yes.
a living safe customer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, yes, insurance solution actually looks way beyond that vehicle to look at the livelihood of the person. So there's a solution for insurance for that, and actually it would even look at that loss of income for you not being able to operate because of what you insured against.
Okay.
But often it's a solution that is you have to choose also to pull. You have to buy it. But there's a solution of covering the property and the consequence. The loss of income from you not being able to operate. That one is actually covered.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to mention specific insurance products because each category has its own name. So I wouldn't want to name specific names. But business interruption is actually covered. Now, even you mentioned about the courtesy car
Yes.
you have been given.
Yes.
It is in similar thinking. You are used to using a vehicle, but you know you need time to even plan for yourself. So you are given a courtesy car. So that's just an aspect of it. Even where your house is flooded, some policies are available in the market that actually extend an alternative accommodation.
Yes, please. I want my 6x6 with lavender scent on the side.
So alternative accommodation is provided. So if it is a business, your livelihood, say you have a business which if you failed to operate even for a single day, then you are down completely. Some policies extend alternative operations which you may set up very quickly. It will take care of that so that it helps you to get back on your feet. Around this time also, how do insurance companies even help? You will find that the flood has affected you so much. If we delay by 1 week, actually you may even end up, you have breached so many contracts. Or even if you have not breached anything, you may not be able to rise up again. Insurance comes in. They can even advance something to help you continue. So loss of income, the business interruption is actually covered.
How do we get more people to understand the importance of this? Because I'm just thinking when you're talking about alternate accommodation and things. I mean, last year there was a horrible fire up Mombasa Road, and the beautiful villas, which went up in smoke, basically were destroyed, and people are having to live in other houses. So I'm trying to imagine a situation if maybe you've had insurance. I mean, for such a beautiful structure, if you had insurance, then there would have been a provision, I assume, for where you could live while the house is, reconstructed or whatever the case may be. How do we get, because unfortunately these things happen and then afterwards is where we say, oh, I wish, but you don't wish it to ever happen. But then when it does happen, you think, oh my God, it can actually happen. And I guess that's the risk the risk that you take with insurance, right?
Yes.
So how do we get more people to understand that, the things that we used to think that it's a luxury thing. I have insurance and, a house with 2.5 baths. No, I mean, it's, how do we get us, in some cases, it's not luxury, but necessity. How do we do that?
I think for me, my take on that, the starting point is trusting the solution, trusting the process. Now, the disconnect, as we pointed out earlier, starts from we have not the process has been a bit painful. So when the process is painful, when you have an issue with your tooth and you happen to see how another person's tooth is being extracted, if it is done in such an uncouth way, in such a way that does not resonate to you, you do not, however good the doctor is, you start doubting the process. But what I would say is, it's important that we start from the point, we have been asking ourselves, where did the rain start beating us? Because you see, what you have asked even touches on the very element of insurance penetration in Kenya. How do we get more people to actually trust insurance and they come in there? So the real thing is, we start by demystifying insurance, to start building the trust so that it actually comes out there. So once we start walking the journey together, for me, what I do on a day-to-day basis, as we call ourselves client advocates, we advise clients, we help the client through the claims journey. Now, why I've introduced the word journey, it's about walking the journey with the person who is in that distress. Now, that knowledge has not been so much in public. Yes, we have given it out there, but it's tended to be elitist. It is what she was mentioning. It is for those who think it's prestige.
Yeah.
But yet it's a necessity. So that journey, how do we walk that journey of insurance with everybody on board? It starts by us reaching the ground to share that information in whatever forum we can. So that's what we are out for. It will no longer be just that we want to dissipate the information in a conference room only, or in a hotel somewhere. We want to go back to the ground there. There's some learning that we have been taking. Education at community level. It has tended to work more than the corporate setting of education.
Yeah.
Yes.
So one other way, right, would be in ensuring that claims get paid. And you see, Minette, you say that you help clients get their claims paid. One would look at that and because Kenyans say insurance, mtavutana sana. But here now is a new way of looking at things, because as we are starting the conversation, you said insurance business is actually to pay claims. Is a core mandate, right? And with that, then, if you have a firm that is helping claims get paid, that means we are helping in stretching that penetration of insurance, because we live in a country where insurance penetration is still at 3% and has stayed there for a very, very long time. And part of that is because of lack of trust that my claim will be paid. So when we talk about that, what does that mean then in actual sense with boots on ground? Because one wants to, nikikuja leo niko na claim, how long? How easy? How soon are you taking me back on my feet?
Actually, now, let me maybe put it bluntly. For us, we are saying, ordinarily, insurance, how it is structured, there's the person selling. Then there's the person who evaluates what has been sold. We call them the underwriters. Then, downstream, we have the claims person who does the postmortem of all what has happened. Then they meet all the paperwork, all what came from upstream. The claims person evaluates it. Now, where does Minette really prosper? As our customer, when you bring that claim, the first thing, we appreciate that you are not a technocrat in insurance. So you will tell us the circumstances raw as they are. It is then immediately our role to look at that insurance policy, that contract, the detail of it, including what we call the fine print, the devil in that detail. An ordinary eye will not see it.
Yeah.
We are trained to see that because we are professionals at that. So we will pick out that and we look at your circumstances vis-a-vis the policy that is there on the ground.
For you.
Then we structure your claim for you based on If it is not payable, then we will tell you, look, these circumstances, what has really happened, this is the challenge it's likely to face. What are the options that are there? So if we follow this route, this is what will happen. Then immediately after that, we will guide you on the documentation, what you need to support your claim.
Okay.
Apart from what you need to support your claim, how long it's likely to take. We will tell you this one, with the direct information you have given us, this one won't last more than 20 days.
Okay.
We would tell you that. Then if there are any challenges that are likely to arise, we would also tell you that. Then in addition to that, we have situations whereby it is borderline. We come out and advocate for you, your interest.
First.
Because what we say, and remember I've also used this word so many times, we are your advocates on this. So your interest is first.
Okay.
As our customer.
Customer.
So we push for your interest.
Okay.
In a good way.
So there's a conference that's coming up next week. You said, basically in a nutshell, let's wrap this up. What then will happen there, and how will that go on?
Now, this is a conference that we are keen at shaping the future of claims in Kenya. So in shaping the future of claims in Kenya, we believe that why it's so important is because claims is where trust is won or lost. And how will we shape the future of claims? We are looking at various areas. We are looking at the human side of claims. So the human side of claims is very important. We are dealing with human beings. 2, we want to build that trust. We want the clients to know that journey very quickly. And 3, we want to align the entire claims value chain. During that conference, we have intermediaries, other intermediaries, we have repairers, we have loss adjusters. We will also be graced by the regulator.
Okay.
In that forum.
All right.
Yes.
Well, it's interesting to know, and we want to thank you for being here with us this morning. Patrick Omoro is the Associate General Manager, Claims, Minute Risk Solutions, and has been here with us to look into some of these matters. Thank you for being here in the Situation Room. A lot to learn, but asante sana.
Thank you very much, and we look forward towards such forums even more.
Asante sana.
Yeah.
Thank you for being in the Situation Room this morning at 10:02. We talk again and keep the conversations going. Good morning.